Now, every week we get thousands of these. Brochures, 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 brochures. Now, I was looking through them thinking, oh, yeah, right, until I came across this one. The Golf GT, and I thought, oh, this is maybe just another Golf, but then I looked at the engine. It's something special, Roger.
This is a really interesting engine.
Yeah, it's basically twin charge, which means the supercharger, which pumps air in the front and in the turbo.
You're nearly right, Danny. The basic thing is that air pressure into an engine increases power. Right. Now, the advantage of a turbocharger is that it does increase power to the engine and it doesn't take any power off the engine because it's running off the exhaust gases. But the downside is you get turbo lag, which is because you have to have sufficient revs to build up sufficient pressure to make the bloody thing work. Right. Whereas the supercharger is taken straight off the crankshaft, and so it operates immediately, but it does draw power off the engine. So what's happened inside the brain of Volkswagen is that they have combined both of these devices on the same engine. Wow. First time it's been done with direct fuel injection.
So it's an uber-duper supercharger.
It's very clever because it means that they can make the engine smaller because it's got so much power coming from both ends. It can only be 1.4 litres and it's developing a similar power to a 2-litre engine.
So you guys believe in all this dribble? Have you driven it yet?
No, we haven't.
I think perhaps I should drive it, Danny.
Over to you, Roger.
Here we are down at the golf club. Apparently most new Golf buyers are old Golf owners. Any new car will do as long as it's a Golf. Salesmen here have the easiest job in the country because all middle-tier accountants and their middle-aged secretaries come in and ask for more of the same, please. Make mine a dashing shade of silver. How risky. Okay, so it's a Golf you want. There's 8 different clubs to choose from. There's 3 gearboxes, 2 diesel engines, and an incredible 5 petrol engines. But Kiwis are lucky. We've got 8 Golfs to choose from. In Europe, they've got an incredible 28. The new Golf GT. Probably the most highly engineered car to come out of Europe for years. Right, here goes. From the outset, it's clear that within its compact dimensions, this car has great expectations. That's a bit odd. What's going on here? It won't accelerate, and then it will. Is that the supercharger, the turbo, or my foot? Perhaps it's these gears. How on earth do you get it to drive smoothly? This car is a boffin's wet dream. In addition to the twin charger engine, there's the DSG gearbox, which is another schizophrenic little system. It's basically an automatic with a manual override, and you can flick from one to the other. It's like a Tiptronic, but instead of using a torque converter, it has an extra clutch anticipating your next gear. It's very clever, you know, like kind of reads your body language. But it is a bit jerky. You have to wonder what designers are thinking about sometimes, don't you? In New Zealand, the Golf GT is only available in DSG. Yep, no manual, no auto. Strange, eh? Just this fancy DSG combo. So, who are Volkswagen New Zealand aiming this car at? Who would buy a car like this? I know, Shortcut Man. You know, those people who dashed off down a side street, turn right down a one-way lane, turn left again, just to get back onto the main road 3 or 4 cars in front of somebody else. They're impatient people, and the jerkiness of the ride is probably just fine for them. In fact, they'd probably like it. They probably like that too. This dial here says boost, which is theoretically telling us the engine's power. But it tends to fluctuate as wildly as the New Zealand dollar. Maybe it measures driver frustration levels. Right, now that we're on the open road, the supercharger that's around town that operates at low engine revs has handed gracefully over its job to the turbocharger, which will take us all the way up to 220 kilometres an hour. Though we won't be doing that today, I've just got my licence back. Best leave that sort of thing to Aaron.
They must think it's a bit of a race car. It's got pedals so we can get up and down the gearbox. And also this car is supercharged and turbocharged, so I suppose that's the idea of getting on the racetrack.
This
car's a 1.4 litre engine, so very, very small. The thing with a supercharger is it gives you that downline grunt and hopefully gets rid of that turbo lag. But still, as you come out of the corner here, you can still feel that lag. The chassis in the GT is just very, very basic, really, I think. You know, we've got a lot of understeer like normal front-wheel drive cars. Very neutral, though. It's understeer, but you can have a little bit of taily too if you flick it out. Flick the car in. So you can get the back hanging out if you want to. So it's very, very neutral. It's probably been set up more for safety, really, with that understeer like all front-wheel drive cars. Quite like using the pedals, just a bit of fun, really. We can pretend you're a race car driver, like me.
But how will it go in our floor it and break it test? Check out those automatic hazard lights. Well, the distance was 142 metres. That's similar to other 2-litre hatches we've tested, but hey, this Golf's only a 1.4 litre.
I don't know what you thought, but I reckon it was really exciting to drive. I thought it was really twitchy and kind of, it was sort of groovy, and it really went, didn't it? It was really exciting to drive and I had a lot of fun.
It's a really, really cool concept, you know, having a turbocharger and a supercharger. I mean, that's cool. It's $4,000 cheaper than a GTI, but a GTI is a better car, so I don't really know where it fits.
They've slotted it into the range very cleverly because it's the third most expensive Golf, the third fastest Golf, and the third thirstiest Golf. But the engine is going to find its way into future 2-litre engines, and in fact, at the end of the year, it's going to replace a very similar engine is going to replace 2-litre motors in Golfs.
It's smaller, it's lighter, it's faster, it's the future of German engineering. I knew this was an important car to review.
Steady on, Danny.